Okay. Different day, you know. What did Chuck do? How did Chuck save his own life? He he was dying, probably had a matter of weeks to go. Now you got to respect this guy. Think about this, okay? Chuck was told he was going to die. And what does he do? He goes to a gathering for gay men. There's 2,000 men there. Yeah, right? You heard that in the HIV Cure movie. I knew all this, but it didn't register for me for years. That Chuck manifested himself a cure for his own personal HIV epidemic. That's what he did. You know, he he just happened to have one of maybe 10 people on Earth at that time. There were so few people who knew about this. There was no website, nothing. And he manifested maybe the only person at that place. Yeah, well, no, he definitely the only person at that place standing up and saying that you could kill HIV. And of course he took action. He went running over to Bill and grabbed him and hugged him, you know, and help me, you know, I'm dying. Now, you see, I have to thank Rhonda Byrne, who wrote The Secret, you know, because I used to teach The Secret. We didn't call it The Secret then, we just called it Manifesting. And Rhonda Byrne may not have been born for part of the time when I was teaching it, but actually, come to think of it, it was long ago, you know, but I taught it, and when I discovered Cure, I had it, and I loved it, and I stopped teaching it and went on to do this, and it just sort of slipped my mind. I needed Rhonda Byrne, who, by the way, I think is one of the best. She may be the best teacher of The Secret ever. I mean, certainly the way she covers it in her book is totally inclusive to me, and I have never heard anything better done about it. You know, and I love a lot of these other teachers, you know, but she's wonderful. I don't think she gives herself enough credit. You know, she just like seems to see herself as a filmmaker and somebody, you know, who just puts things together and stuff, but she's a major manifester and a real teacher in her own right, and I think that maybe the best one. She's a heck of a lot better than I ever was. And people paid me millions, you know, to teach them, and she's way better, you know. She just is, it's just better organized, and it's more inclusive, you know, the way she does it. It's complete. You know what I'm saying here? Anyway, so I must really thank her because she woke me up with her book. All of a sudden, I started to realize things like this. Like, you can't find this needle in the haystack. There's no way in the world that you're ever going to be able to find the person. Never, ever, ever. You know? You write to these people and they don't write back or whatever it is. You are going to have to manifest. Now, let me put this in a way concrete way, okay? So you really understand it. Let's go back to Keely talking, and this really happened. You know, she spoke at Mark's, you know, testimonial dinner, right? So suppose there's Keely, okay? Keely was, you know, sitting at the table with Mark, sitting next to Mark, and, you know, the mayor finishes speaking, and Keely stands up. Let's suppose this is the way it goes. And Keely does not show anybody how to get signals or do any of this. She doesn't show them how to cure things, let's say. What does she need to do that for? She stands up and she says, Mark is my friend of 35 years, and he asked me to speak here. I am looking for the person who will end the HIV epidemic in Africa. We have the means to do that, which I will provide to that person. If you think you are that person or know the person, and you can get me on the phone with the person, here I am. You want to cure something, you're HIV positive, whatever. You go to the, Google Cure Drive, and knock yourself out, Now, let me say about Mark that he is the slimiest, most underhanded, double-dealing, and he's secretly straight besides, but he's in the closet. Whatever, Why show people how to cure stuff? Who cares? If they want to help themselves, they know where to find it, and lesson one will show them. A heck of a lot better than you can do. And at the same time, at some point, we really need to show people how to cure things. I mean, it may not be, something you want to do when you're like talking at a testimonial dinner. Well, you could take the workshop, okay? The Stuart Wilde workshop. Same thing, Like, let's say Kathy goes over to Stuart Wilde and she says, I'm looking for the person who will end the HIV epidemic in Africa. Do you think you might be that person? And he goes, no, I don't get that about myself. And she goes, okay, fine. Well, you mind if I make an announcement? And he goes, no, not great. Well, how long do you need? And I say, well, I could teach everybody how to cure things, and it would take me 20 minutes, or she could let him decide, But the fact is, to ask for the person only takes a second, and they really hear it, Funny thing about that, if you're just direct, and you see, this is the context. Manifesting always happens in a context, okay? And let me tell you again about Chuck, because here's the practical example of somebody who actually did this. This guy manifested the end of his personal HIV epidemic, I will say again. Just think about this for a minute. Chuck did not go to that HIV benefit thinking he was going to find the cure for HIV. I mean, sorry, I'm getting confused. Chuck did not go to the gathering for gay men, the workshops, since they had a lot of workshops there, thinking that he was going to find the cure for HIV. He went there because he wanted to feel better and connect and maybe do something with the last few weeks of his life that he enjoyed, since he was not working because he was on disability, because he had AIDS, okay, which is why he was seeing his doctor twice a week and stuff, Same thing, see? So it had ramped up into AIDS, see? So, little guy, sweet person, wonderful person. Now, so he takes himself there, okay? This is the context. See, he made a context. He actually did something. He went somewhere. He got himself somewhere. By the way, not everybody was in that room. There was about 1,000 guys in the room, okay? Well, there were 2,000 guys on site. They were off somewhere, hanging out, like taking a nap or something. He went, and he was there when Bill spoke. If he had not gone and decided he was too tired and he needed to take care of himself because he's coming down with something or whatever, or he had some other excuse for not showing up at that thing, never would have heard Bill. So yeah, like, we got to stand up and say things. We got to do things and say things and go places and talk to people and all that stuff, we got to do. But the question is, how do we do this with the minimum of effort? And then while we're doing that, we need to be manifesting. Because it is the manifesting that will cause the person to emerge.